A very good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where and when you're watching us from. My name is Mutathi Wachira Wanyaga, Mujiri wa Baria Karigithi, na ngwihoka kuma ng'ongo ciothe ciumaga huho. Muri thayo. Today is a good day. It's the 27th of March. The year is 2024. And this is African Corner. And today we will be talking about brain drain in Africa. This is our 42nd episode where we'll be discussing about brain drain in Africa. And before we even get into the details of the topic of today, I hope you guys have already seen the video that we started with. We keep on reminding you that more often than not, that Rashida Speaks is not only, it's not actually only a YouTube channel, but there's so many other things that we do. We do corporate emceeing, we do leadership training, we do team building, and so many other things that we'll be keeping on reminding you over time. And I'm sure that the rest will also tell you more about it. And as usual, I can see we have the sons of the soil in the house ready to have this conversation tonight of Brain Drain Africa. And I will start with this guy who keeps getting lost and then is found again. I don't know which parable we will use today. Kennedy Kipto, how are you? Kindly introduce yourself, tell us how you are, and anything you'd like to share with us tonight.
Washira, I'm fine. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you're watching us from. As you've heard, my name is Kipto Keter. I have warned Washira time and again that I did not consent. The name Kennedy, it's an English name, but I did not consent any of the names either. But then let's just stick to Kipto Keter. So I'm happy to be part of this.
Kipto Keter, I am reading what you have written. I can read on the screen Kennedy Kipto. You should now then change it to Kipto Keter. Yes.
Yeah, so thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, Kipto Keter, for being here tonight. Jeff Waheto, how are you?
I'm fine, Shira. The saying that good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. Imeniingia hadi I almost greeted someone somewhere. Good morning, on good evening, and where depending on where you're watching us. So my week has been smooth. Nimekuwa na mapanda shuka, and I've come here to engage with you guys in a fruitful conversation about brain drain in Africa. We hope you'll stay tuned and our viewers will be happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff, also for being here again. And now the man of the hour, the man who will be taking us through this conversation, Maina Olushasha. How are you?
I am fine. My week has been fine. I'm happy to see you guys here. I'm always happy to have conversations with you guys. I believe your intellects. I know your intellects, and it's always interesting to have conversations with intellectual people. And before we go into the topic of the day, I'd just like to remind you guys that we are not a YouTube channel. We are not just content creators. We do above and beyond content creation. Like Washira said, we have an entire catalog of services ranging from corporate emceeing to teamwork building, leadership training. We do a lot of things, and we'd like to make you guys familiar with those things. If you have an event and you'd like a corporate MC, feel free to reach out to us. If you have a team you'd like to do teamwork training or team building with them, reach out to us. And you can also go through our website. There's an entire list of our services, and basically keep in tune with what we are doing, and we might help each other in one way or another. And now to the main topic of the day, which is brain drain in Africa. And the brain drain, for those of you who perhaps are not familiar with the word or the topic, brain drain is a immigration of highly skilled people from one country to another country. And I'd like Kipto to kick us off. You know, Kipto's kinsmen are known to love Australia. Every time you hear of someone going to Australia, most likely the name is Kip something. They are known to love that country. And I'd like to hear from you, Kipto. Given the chance to move from Kenya to Australia,
Uh,
will you take the chance? Because I believe you're a highly skilled political analyst, and that will be the exact definition of brain drain, because you'll be taking your brains to a foreign country. If given the chance to move there, would you take it?
okay, I'll choose not to answer the question at the beginning, but first, may I mention that we've today really brought a very consequential topic, especially when it comes to the problems affecting Africa. Many a times we've not focused while discussing the problems facing the continent. We've only focused on a number of things like corruption, interference from the West, poor governance, without really looking into other factors that are so significant as this one that we are talking about tonight. As to whether I would wish to grab a chance if I was given, I think I will, but only because of two reasons. One is because I want to go and bring back that which was stolen from this land, because the wealth that the people overseas are enjoying is wealth that was generated out of the labor from Africa, out of the raw materials from Africa, and so forth and so on. So, if given a chance, I will grab it. And number two, I want to go and see. Of course, we can get we can borrow a leave from our brothers from the other side. So those are the only two reasons that could actually prompt me to maybe stay there temporarily, and then I'll be back home.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Keter.
No,
I know it.
I like to have I have a problem with what Kiptoo is saying. He's just giving some excuses to something that he anyway. Kipto, I totally disagree with you. I think you're lying. If you want to go, just say you want to go. Stop saying you want to go and bring one back here. That come on.
That's why I was very specific and mentioned Australia, because it's very hard. It's practically impossible for someone named Kipto to refuse to go to Australia. And I think what Kipto you said will lead me to my next question, which is I think you've mentioned the two reasons why you would like to go there. You've said you'd like to experience the wealth that was built by a labor force from Africa, and then you'd like to bring back what you've learned to a beautiful continent. So those are for you the two reasons which might drive someone to go to that country, to that foreign country. So Washira, I know you're very focused on Africa. You're very Afrocentric. You don't like to associate with the West, but I'd like you for just a few minutes to bring yourself down and put yourself in the shoes of someone who wants to go there. What perhaps do you think is driving these people to leave their countries and go to these foreign countries?
Just a point of correction. I don't. I've never said I don't want to associate with the West. I think that is miscommunicated there. Uh, what I say is I'm not against anybody, but I am really for Africa. Um, Putting myself in a shoe of somebody who wants to go out is, the Africa that we are in right now, the likes of Cape Town who are saying they want to go and bring things back here, which I don't believe, is we have, and some of it is not our course. The Africa that we live in right now, it's full of challenges. Getting jobs is very difficult. Getting opportunities is very difficult. The pay that people are paid here is too low for even common things to for somebody to do. That is indeed true, and it is valid, and it is justified for somebody to go and seek for greater pasture. It is in the nature of human beings to search and provide for themselves. However, I also believe that the way Kipto has said that these people took this wealth and took our resources here and made wealth wherever they made it. It is then why is it so hard for us to take the resources here and make wealth here? I know there are so many chains that are holding us for not doing that. But if all of us are in that brain thought or the mindset of, I have to go out so that I can make it. I'm not condemning anybody who has gone out. But I think also we can be able to do it well here because we are the only people who can solve it. Because it's as in we say, out of mind, out of sight. So, when we are here, we are able and we are alive to the problems and the challenges that we face in this country. So, and in the continent as a whole. So, personally, I understand why they do that. But what I fail to understand totally is somebody going and saying they don't want to come back. I don't blame them. They have their own reasons. But if at all they have those genuine reasons, like Kipto Keter here, to go and then therefore develop Africa, it's okay. But I'm still of the opinion that we can live in Africa and develop Africa by ourselves and make them come to us and bring
Yeah.
the wealth to us. The way they took it, let them bring it back. And Maina, we have had conversation with some friends of ours who live abroad. You remember the other time we were talking with Sipo and he was telling us, he really will prefer to be living in Africa, despite him living in Canada for so many years. And not only him, I've talked with somebody in the US who says the same thing. I've talked with somebody in the UK who have said the same thing. But we have also seen people who have come back. So that's my opinion.
Thank you for that, and it's a very valid opinion. Uh, and now, brain drain is about people emigrating from a country to a different country. But now, right now, we live in a different age where you don't have to leave your country to exercise your intellectual might in another country. We live in an era of the internet, and there's a saying that goes around that the dream is to live in Kenya while making dollars. So a lot of young people have bought into this dream. That's why you see Jeff on his laptop every other day trying to do things, and at the end of the day, he tries to pay his mama mboga using Bitcoin because he believes that that is what is right and or that is what stands out as being true. So Jeff, this question is specifically for you because I've seen you do these things. I've seen you scour the internet looking for jobs that are not in Kenya. I've seen you do forex on your laptop every other day at 3 a.m. in the morning. And to me that's a form of brain drain because you're using your intellectual property to build a different country from yours. You have not necessarily emigrated from your country, but you're doing things that perhaps benefit another country more than your country. And that's why you see young people are driving big cars, but it's to the detriment of our economies because it's like you're exporting your services. You're using your brain to build another person's economy. So Jeff, now that you're the one of us who is very keen on doing this online job and working for the white man to earn in dollars, do you think that doing that is right? Because you might earn the money, yes, but at what expense? You could perhaps have done something very different for Kenya. Yeah.
Always, I believe you are saying about kwanza venye Ruto alisema unafinya computer inatoa dola. President Ruto started saying that watu wengi walianza kufinya computer na ilikuwa inatokea unga ya dola. So about I believe these kids, as long as I'm gaining financial stability from helping people to, let me say, for example, online writing. I do for a student certain assignment, I get paid. I have gained financial stability, but also I learn in the process while doing the assignment. So I also take it as a learning opportunity. I believe the skills also I can teach someone else. The content other people in the Western countries are learning. Because when we do that, those assignments, I come and relate and I see there's no difference at all in what we are learning in our Kenyan university. So I also take those chances of job opportunities for developing the Western countries as a chance also to learn how to manage the people of Kenya.
Thank you for that, Jeff. And now, Keter, before I give you the chance to respond to what Washira said, you said you were perhaps not truthful in saying there are only two reasons for you wanting to go abroad. Perhaps there is more to the situation than those two reasons only. I know you are a political scientist and you understand how governments work and you understand how things work. And at the beginning, you mentioned that this is a problem that our governments have not yet realized. It's a problem that faces us, and perhaps we don't take it with the magnitude or with the gravity it deserves. And from the point of view of a political scientist, do you think our governments are doing enough to prevent the intellect of Africa from leaving the continent and going to develop other people's countries?
Absolutely not. William some drama just a few weeks ago when he said that he had secured 200, I think he said around 200,000 jobs for the nurses in the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, the Gulf. And you could not help but wonder, because while we are talking about the responsibility of our leaders to work on preventing more brain drain, one of them is telling us to go. And Jeff, what is even more appalling about this situation, Kenya right now, from the statistics, has less medical practitioners than is required. And then, so I think our leaders are not doing enough. In fact, most of them are not doing anything at all. But it is their responsibility to ensure that the employment that these people are going to seek outside there is going to is created in here, because you see there is a statistics that was done, and it is established that almost all those who led in KCSC are all outside the country. I think up to the year 2009,
I think we have lost Kipto for a minute. As he sorts out his network issues, I think we can move on to you, Ashira.
Yeah,
And
before even say anything, I see a lot of comments are coming in thick and fast. Fredman Congo says,
2010, the last time I checked,
so,
working
uh,
for
so my friend Ken is here today. Jeff can't tell me nothing. That is what Fredman Congo is saying. He also says that Ken is a good man and a brother of mine, but you draw the line when it starts lying. Bwana, which things do you want to go and bring back? And then Kim Tyrek says, how will you bring back investments when leaders are making it hard via policies and laws that undermine progress? And also, I can see a question from Mwangi Macharia saying that how do you foresee the future trajectory of brain drain, and what steps should we take now to mitigate its long-term effects? I think we'll be answering that. And then we have President Congo saying brain drain today is basically due to socio-economic hardship that young people are facing. If we could stabilize our economy and fast track as well as far industrialization, then this end. So, minor comments coming in, and we appreciate them very, very much. I'd also like to tell them that in the comment section, there is this link that I have uploaded there. We are requesting them to fill that survey for us. It will help us in another activity. Once they press that link, they'll be able to get more details. If you cannot get it here in the live section, the link is across all social media platforms. All Washira Speak social media platforms is there. Hiyo ikikushinda kabisa, go to the website Washira Speaks, www.washiraspeaks.com. On the landing page, on that page, you scroll up or just scroll until you see our program, and then you'll see a tab written "Take the survey now." We'll really appreciate if you guys are able to fill in that. So Kipto, you were saying something, and then the network kakufanya ile kitu. That's why we were reading the comments. So kindly go ahead. Na Redbone amesema uache uongo.
I don't know where the network left me at, but what I was saying was that the issue of brain is something that starts and stops with governance. If we get our governance right, then we will really cut the issue of brain drain. I think the government should also, in as much as we need to give people opportunities to go and seek wealth outside there, I think the government also needs to make it a little bit difficult for an individual to move out, especially those who are skilled. I would agree that most of these people who are not just the skilled labor. We of course have people who are going there on an unskilled visa or on an unskilled basis. We can give them that opportunity. But when it comes to skilled individuals, our doctors, our lawyers, our social scientists, our nurses, and what have you, we really need to make it difficult for them. Of course, Jeff will argue that we must go and these opportunities, but you see, we need you here. We need you to give us that which you've learned. We need you to put it into practice inside our very own country, and grow this country together. I normally like Washira's argument when it comes to getting an opportunity to go abroad, and he says we can grow our own continent. We can get our own employment here, and make it stable for posterity. Of course, we might not enjoy the fruits. It might be a little bit painful at the beginning, but then we have an opportunity and we have a debt to pay to our upcoming generations. So the buck starts and stops with the leadership by one, making it difficult, and two, trying to get employment. It's difficult, but I know they can do it. Thank you. Before you proceed, Congo and someone else mentioned and were asking how are we going to bring back that which was taken. Of course, there has been a discussion going on, especially in West Africa, about artifacts, bodies of our legends that still lay in the museums of the Western imperialists. But that is not what I mean at this moment. What I mean is because we've developed the West, especially the West, we need to go there and learn 1 or 2, 3 skills because they are technologically advanced. In the medical field, they are advanced. So we can go and borrow a leaf. We really can. So that is my center of argument when it comes to bringing back that which was lost. And of course, if we can bring back our resources through that dollar that Jeff will earn on that computer, Taptengele, why not? We can do it, but it's not advisable. Thank you.
It is very ignorant of you, Kipto, to say that if you do it, but it is not advisable. Myra, let me share something with you. When you're talking of brain drain, sometimes I even ask myself, do we even really have serious brain drain issues in Africa? And in Kenya, maybe let me bring it down to Kenya. Because you see, we are hearing this story with Jeff the other day, that do you know that the tower, the University of Nairobi Tower, it, everybody has seen it, once you're around Nairobi University, you have seen it. So Can you imagine that the University of Nairobi Tower was constructed by engineers from China? What does that show? That the institution cannot trust its own engineers. If the institution cannot trust its own products, it had to go and get engineers from China. So when we are doing brain drain, sometimes I'm even now asking myself, do we have really much of brain drain? Because now even the way we are treating ourselves sometimes is not good. Even because I want to look at it from that angle also. Because now imagine, why is the University of Nairobi having to get engineers from China? And not only University of Nairobi, even the government itself gets engineers from China. And yet we have engineers graduating every single year in our universities. What does that mean? Come on, it brings in a lot of issues. And then, just before I proceed, I can see uh, Machere Mongi had asked the question that how do you foresee the future trajectory of brain drain, and what steps should we take now to mitigate its long-term effects? Allow me to respond to this in a manner that I can be able to do so. You see, sometimes brain drain might be, depending on how you look at it, can be positive or negative. You know, sometimes when people who do not want to develop Africa and they have negative attitude about our own continent, even if they are smart as they can be, it will not help us. It will not help the continent. So them living and going and developing those areas that they think it is wise to develop might be a good thing for our continent. However, that part where, these brains that will have worked well in Africa, will have worked well in Kenya, they have to go out so that they can search for better opportunities, can be only be done. It can only be stopped if such kind of the economy improves. The way Fred Congo has put it, we need to really improve the economy so that we can be able to pay our people nicely, and also change that mindset that we have that, an engineer from Kenya, an engineer from Africa cannot develop a good road. But just like these engineers are also proving us wrong. To keep a defend, because you go and they have constructed a road and within 2 days it has a pothole, and they lie in the contract. So it is a matter of, for me, it is a matter of mindset. If we're able to change our mindset at the end of the day, then things will be able to go ahead, including the economy. The economy will be able to improve and therefore give back to the society.
Yeah, thank you for that, Wazir. And I've heard you speak, I've listened, we have understood you. You've raised issues of why should a Chinese engineer be building a tower in Kenya. And to me, I believe this all boils down to people going where they are appreciated, and us having a culture of not learning to appreciate our own. And there are people who say brains go where the money is, or brains go where the brains are, or brains look for opportunity wherever they can. So to you, I ask, are these people wrong to go where they are valued? Are these people wrong to go to a place where they know their skills and their talents will be appreciated? Because perhaps the situation in our country is one where they'll not be appreciated for what they have. Washira, are you still with us? I think we have lost Washira for a moment there as he sorts
Collins,
out his. Yeah?
or let me answer that. They are not wrong. Because for you to grow, you must be in an environment where you are well educated. Your skills, you have seen your skills being put into place, and it comes from a personal development point. But if you want to go as a whole, I believe in Kenya we should try to make our people or the government as well to appreciate appreciate skills of young people towards the development of the country and alongside even the whole of Africa.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for that, Zeph. And to me, I believe this part of this problem lies in our education system, because we learn things that are not needed in our country. You could learn things like nuclear science, being a nuclear scientist when there's no single nuclear reactor in Kenya. So you come out of your course with the qualifications, yes, but your country can't provide for you that job opportunity. So, Kipto, what can we do to our education systems to make them be tailored in such a way that we learn of what we need? We don't learn of things that we don't need. I don't learn about nuclear science when perhaps my country cannot present that opportunity to me.
Yeah, of course, there is first an oxymoron because while our brains are fleeing away abroad to search for opportunities, back here in Kenya, we are seeing substandard work. That is in reference to what Washira said. Now, you go to a road that has been constructed by our very own engineers, and it's of very poor quality. But then again, these same engineers are being pushed abroad, to go and work with the companies there. So where exactly? I do not get the nexus between these two, and I really need to understand. But then, as you've alluded, Maina, the problem lies within our education system, because we apart from even offering courses that are so relevant, we need to ensure that whatever education we offer, especially when it comes to very practical skills, like in the medical field and the engineering field, there is need to ensure that whatever education we offer to our kin and kith here in Africa is one that is not just centered at acquiring that degree, but also securing the future in terms of the development that we are going to witness. So that today, if we have a surgeon country who graduated from the University of Nairobi, for instance, they are going to do it so well that countries would want to come and benchmark. If we have our own engineers here in Kenya, they need to do good work. They need to do that good work which will last, be long lasting. And the only way they can do it is if they have the day to our education system. And I think that is something we can work on, because it is simply a matter of sitting down and and putting down professionals from different fields. We can actually borrow technologically from the other world. Again, there is the issue of irrelevant. Let me not call them irrelevant, but there's the issue of courses which are not in synergy with whatever we are doing as a continent. You've mentioned, for instance, the issue with nuclear engineering. Of course, from my end, of course, I've been advocating for the making of nuclear weapons in the African continent. Of course, to also have a say and to scare the rest of the world. But that's beside the point. The point is we really need to cut our cloth to fit us, so that we really do not need to offer what is not going to be practical at the end of the day. Because surely, what are we going to do with nuclear engineering, as you've alluded? That is a direct that is a brain drain in waiting, because immediately they finish, because there's nothing they can clearly do here. So they'll have to move abroad and seek opportunities there. So I think there's need to work on what I said before, leadership, and it is actually leadership that will bring reforms in our education system. And I really hope and pray that the current competency-based curriculum, that is CBC, is going to address this very issue.
Yeah, indeed. Education might be part.
Before we proceed, I can see comments from Congo. Says kill ignorance, creativity towards our own continent. hatred of our own, and always thinking that out. For example, white is better than here. For example, black are the main cause of brain drain, need governance issues. And I will just like a nice break. And I have a question for you, always, because I believe it's not you know the answer. And I also, as you answered Collins, I just like nataka kuandika our viewers for the comment on if they had an opportunity, wako na hisi yao, if they had an opportunity, wanaenda nje the white countries to pursue their skills and careers. Na Collins will answer hiyo as viewers wakifika.
Sorry, come again, Jeff. I didn't hear you very clearly.
As I was saying, nataka kuandika our viewers over. Nataka kuambia kama watapata chance if they can go to Western countries to pursue their careers and to just stay in Africa na waendelee kung'ang'ania kuwa huko. And the same question, I would just like you to answer the viewers comment.
On learning to hate our own.
If you had a chance to go abroad, ungeichukua?
Yeah, I would have taken it, but I will not go there for long. Because there's something perhaps I want from there, but as soon as I'm done with just like what Keter has said, sometimes you have to admit that we don't know everything. And for me, I take that as a learning opportunity. That's why I say I'd not go for long. I'd go for a short time, learn of what they do, and then come back and try to develop my country. Because you realize there are things like brain gain. Brain gain is the opposite of brain drain. Brain gain occurs in this way: you go to that foreign country, you learn how your systems work, you learn how they do their business, you learn how they conduct themselves. You take the positives from there, and then you come back to your country, and then from what you've learned, you develop your country. So for me, that will be the only situation that would make me go abroad. Otherwise, I believe in building our country by ourselves, because at the end of the day, nobody is coming to solve the problems that we have. So we just have to sit down and work on our problem. Going abroad is perhaps just putting patches on the wound and not actually healing it. It's just uh, a little step that, in the fullness of time, will not help us trying to develop our countries.
Yeah, thank you, Collins. And before you proceed, John Congo also comment that the world today is moving towards as well as very high technological edge, but before teaching our children how to make a role in the next CBC. So what do you expect? Melbourne Congo, you have a valid point. Kiko, can you comment on that?
I think Fred Congo has a very valid point. But one thing for sure, we will all agree that there is need for better. We can do better as a country, especially when it comes to CBC. We can still improve it and make it even better. Of course, this is just the very initial stage, and is referring to an example of rope making in the schools. But I think that one is intended to develop motor skills because it is we want to go into a practical world, manufacturing, industrialization. So I think our kids are just being taught at that level. Their fine motor skills are being worked on, and they are being psychologically prepared for things that will involve working with their hands. Of course, he's talking about AI and mechanization, something that I've not seen the continent invest so much on. But I think it cuts across the world. It is something that we can all adopt easily and really make good use of it. So Congo has a point, but then we just need to make it better. We have CBC now. We cannot run away from it. We only have to improve it. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Keter. And before we go on any further, I'd just like to remind you guys again that Washira Speaks is not just a YouTube channel. We do more than just appearing on these YouTube shows. Like I said, we have a catalog of of services we can perform for you. We do corporate MC, we do teamwork training, we do team building, we do things with African philosophy, and we also have a leadership program and a personal development program for which there is a link on the description. We'd like you guys to just take a few minutes of your time and fill in that link. It will be of great help to us as we tailor our services to suit your every need. And then back to the main topic of the day. You know, you'd think leaving the African continent is easy or leaving your country is easy, but perhaps that's one of the biggest or hardest things to do. Because if you pass by town through the Department of Immigration, you see there are lines of people, there are thousands of people waiting for their passports, all in an attempt to leave our country. And then you see of cases like in West Africa and in the north of Africa, where people go to the point of even being stowaways in boats, people being stowaways in aeroplanes. So what do you think drives these people to the point that they no longer want to stay in their countries? They can go to every extent to leave their countries. Because I was reading a story where someone was some people were moving in makeshift boats trying to flee from the northern part of Africa towards Spain, and surprised that some of them could not even swim. So they take that much a risk in trying to move to another country at the expense of staying in their own country. So, Kipto, what do you think drives these people to such an extent of going through these difficult things to try and leave their countries?
Uh, First, of course, it is the opportunity mentioned all along, and secondly, of course, we have all witnessed. I saw this year the Ministry of Interior, the Ministry of Citizen e-citizen in this country has been so outspoken when it comes to the issue of passports. And someone would be tempted to think that the flaws that we see today in the immigration department started the other day. No, they used to exist, but then uh, it has been highlighted by the fact that a lot of people are now seeking to get these passports and move out of the country. So the search for opportunities is one reason why people are moving. Number two is, I think, pressure from those who've gone there first, because if you look at this, of course, most of the people you see going out are going to the US, to the UK, to France, to Germany, to to Australia, to Switzerland, and then the others who are basically purposely going there for labor, who are going to the Gulf. And then while these people, because I have seen it from my place, a lot of people have moved to the other countries. And then when someone goes there, after a short while, you start to see you start to see development in their homes. You see they're building a house for their parents, they're buying land, and so the other parent, the neighboring parent, sees that and says, "Oh, it seems if I also take my daughter or my son to that place, I'm going to be lucky as this neighbor of mine." Uh, and as a youth, if I see you living lavishly, in opulence, and all the good things seem to be following you, I'll also get that pressure to put my things in place and also and go. So those are two things that I think are really contributing to individuals really fleeing this country: opportunity and pressure. We might underrate the peer pressure in this entire fiasco, but it plays a very critical role.
Yeah, like, thank you for that. And from that, I'd like to borrow something from what you said. You said of the lifestyles these people seem to be living or look like they're living. And it's something I've also noticed because Africans in the diaspora look like they're living very lavish lifestyle. They drive expensive cars. if you're to watch them, you live in the information era, so things spread very fast, news spreads very fast. If you were to go through their profiles on maybe Instagram on these social media platforms, you as a young man would be very tempted to leave your country and go seek greener pastures that way. So, Jeff, has it ever hit you, or has it ever occurred at one point in your life that, you know what, I have seen this person that was perhaps living a very noble life, and he has gone abroad, and his lifestyle seems to have changed abruptly. Have you ever been influenced by such a person to the point that you've considered very greatly going to a foreign country to seek greener pastures?
Yeah. And one example I want to give is all known Andrew Kibe. He went to the States with nothing. After some time, you see him with a Mercedes S class. I don't want to call him the way he calls that name. Uh, he was really emphasizing that when you go to the US, there is real improvement. Uh, but I think even if the main improvement he had is because of social media. So if he was bado in Kenya, he would still have made that money. But he said, but alirudi, atakaa alikuwa anasema hizi rudi Kenya. Alirudi and nimemwona saa hii ana try to encourage our young people. Unaweza enda huko nje, ujijenge, urudi, hasa ujenge wengine. Sawa. Thank you.
Thank you. I can see Washira is back. And a lot of times when people go abroad, they go with the pretext that I'm going for a few years, and then after a few years, I'll come back and try to develop my country. For example, people go and study there. So you expect them to go there for 4 years, and then after the 4 years, they come back. But this has not been the case. They go for 4 years, and then after the 4 years, they say, why don't I add two more? And in the end, they stay there up to their late 60s, their late 70s now, and they come back to Africa. And this is to the detriment of our own continent, because we are missing out on development, on growth. And if you look at the socioeconomic factors that lie therein, there is a lot that Africa loses when these people go abroad. So Washira, I'd like to hear from you. At what is the impact of these people going abroad? What do we lose as Africa when these people go and use their skills and intellect to develop foreign nations at the expense of their own countries?
Before I answer that question, before I took an abrupt leave, uh, you had asked something if at all it is we should blame these people. You see, Maina, if you happen to marry a wife, and that wife is not taking care of you, will you be blamed for marrying another wife or getting another wife?
Not at all. The only
Yeah, so
person who could blame is your first wife.
so it is the same way. We can't blame people who leave. Sometimes it sometimes is understandable, but now that aspect of that, the way we are trying to conscious as Africans, is that even when you now have a bad wife Collins, you can try working out something with her, and maybe the relationship will work, rather than going and marrying the second one. You don't know whether that second one will disturb you. You'll get a third one or a fourth one, and the list is endless. So, going back to your question, yeah, the effects are huge. Effects are huge. For example, let us go back during even. I know brain drain is mostly intellectual, but personally, I like looking at it in generally. Leave alone the intelligent or the professionals. When slave trade was happening in Africa, especially in the western part of Africa and the coast areas, a lot of huge people were taken who were deemed to be strong and smart. So at the end of the day, there was a lot of challenges from that side. They say labor decreased 100-fold. And you see that labor is what Kipto is saying that those people went and developed their countries with. They made wealth with. So it is in the same thing in this new era, which is the 21st century. You are not being abducted by force, but you're being abducted in a very intellectual manner, and sometimes not for reasons that can be justified. However, It has a lot of effects for Africa, because now imagine, you hear some of the best engineers at Tesla are Kenyan. Is a Kenyan rather. Some of the people who are working at NASA and the US NASA are Kenyans. Can you imagine what kind of brains are there? And if at all they were appreciated here at home, and they were valued here at home. Now, look at it also in another perspective. Let us go to the world of sports. How many Africans have changed their nationality? They have been convinced that they changed their nationalities to other non-African nations. So many. We have also our very own Eliud Kipchoge, and there was some time they were saying people had convinced him to change his Kenya nationality to another city, to, I mean, not a national, a citizenship. Yeah, can you imagine? So what will have happened? Who will you be calling your hero? The likes of Faith Kipyego. Who will you be saying? Or the late Kelvin Kiptum? What will you be saying? So it has a lot of effects, not only, even pride. Ile pride ile sema, huyu ni wetu. Where I come from, they were saying, kanika itoka kushia lila. When they were talking about, oh, this is our son, this is our daughter. All that goes away because of brain drain.
Yeah, we hear you, and thank you for that. And now, and there's just one more thing I'd like to hear from you guys. When you hear of brain drain, a lot of times these talents are not moving within the African continent. They may be going to the United States, they're going to Canada, they're going to Asia, they're going to Australia. Do you think the situation would have, or it will be an easier pill to swallow if at all these people are not moving from Africa to different continents? If this intellect was moving within the African continent, if Washira, for instance, was to move from Kenya to Tanzania and try to develop a fellow African country, do you think it will be less of a bitter pill to swallow if at all we try to build these relations within our continent in such a way that I might have moved out of my country, yes, but I've moved out of my country to develop a country that is African, a country that uh, I resonate with, a country whose peoples look like I do. Do you believe that it would have been an easier situation if that was the case?
For me, I think it will have been an easier one to swallow, because at the end of the day, we are all Africans, and you're trying to improve our Africa. But you know, it will still be bad, because our Africans ourselves, we have not taken. You remember issues of Morocco in World Cup, when they were saying they are not Africans. So I think if at all Africa was that united, and we are seeing we are one people. In philosophy we say that the people in sub-Saharan Africa, and the people from the other side of Africa are different, because they were being deemed as there are some philosophers who are Eurocentric, and they were saying that this side of the Africa is proper Africa, what we call Africa proper. If at all even people from Africa proper, in quotes, will have been united, what I mean, people with the skin color like mine, a dark skin color, then I think it will have been an easier pill to swallow. But Tanzanians don't like us in the first place. You remember? Yeah, they think we are going there to take their jobs. What is happening in South Africa? South Africans have big issues of immigration from people from Zimbabwe and Zambia and the neighboring countries. We were talking with Ali the other day, and they were complaining a lot. You might be thinking it's like the US and Mexico. So it will have been an easier swallow. I mean, not easier pill to swallow, if then we were very united. If you are very united, if somebody is going to develop Egypt, then that's good, because we will feel the effect from here. However, right now, as it is, I don't think it will be easy.
Yeah. And very briefly, Ketera, you can also answer that as you give your final comments on what do you think the future looks like for Africa in terms of this topic or this issue that we've been addressing today?
Well, one of the entities that tries to solve such problems is the Agenda 2063. The Agenda 2063 simply wants to achieve three objectives. Of course, there is a litany of things that have been set up to put in place that, if implemented, would ensure that we have a prosperous Africa. But then these two have been pegged on three issues. One is an integrated Africa, two is a prosperous Africa, and three is a peaceful Africa. So if today we even a loosely explanation of unity, as Washira has mentioned, we really do not need to be united in the strict sense of the word of having one president, one military. We simply want to start with one thing, and that is the ACFTA, the African continental, the African free. It's the free con- African Continental Free Trade Area. Yes, ACFTA. And to to to, uh, to just agree and disagree with Washira on equal measure, if today we just ensured that the ACFTA agenda has been implemented and that we can freely move across the continent, that if I am an engineer here in Kenya, I can take my skill to Botswana, can take my skill to Nigeria, I can take it to Niger, I can take it to Senegal, and someone else in Senegal, a doctor in Senegal, can come to Kenya and seek an opportunity. That will be so that will be so good. And Washira, of course, you mentioned that it wouldn't be a very sweet thing to have ourselves within the continent, and you say it would be as it would bear the same weight as just going to the Western world. But one thing I believe, of course, we are almost at the ratification of the ACFTA, and once that has been ratified and we begin to implement it, we are going to see much of our people now seeking opportunities within within the boundaries of the continent. And I'm so positive that is going to happen within a very short time, if we only have a very conclusive governance and guidance of that very entity. Finally, as I conclude, I think we need to rename what we call brain drain. I think it has been brain drain until the year 2000. Right now, whatever we are witnessing should be renamed to brain flight, because it has gone off the charts. We cannot comprehend. It's too much. The other day, I talked to a cousin of mine who is in who is in. Can I be heard?
Yes.
Yeah, very clearly.
Yeah, a cousin of mine who is in PP1, and I asked her. She's called Shalene. So I told her, Shalene, wewe ukikuwa mtu mkubwa unataka kufanya nini? Can you imagine what she told me? So we have an aunt who is in Australia, and so when I asked Shalene what she wants to be when she grows up, she told me, Senge atanipeleka Australia. I was surprised. And I've been asking kids around, nataka kuwa nini ukiwa mkubwa? Nitaenda Australia, nitaenda America, and it's scary. So if kids are already having that mindset that we are not here to stay, then there's so much to be done. So thank you.
Thank you, Kipto. You know, I really hope that kids from Collins's village should be wanting to go to Taptengele, because we had the money unafinya computer inatoka, because it is worrying, you know, the next generation seeing such kind of things, that they want to go, you know, to Australia. And what you're saying is really valid. We should even rename it. That's why I was saying, in my opinion, I'm not looking at it even in an intellectual capacity per se, like the brains per se. What about these other things that are going, because when you look at brain drain in the street sense, it's about professionals leaving. What about these people who can just do, let's say, untrained labor, and they're going? And funny thing, our president is the one who's the number one advocate for that. So very, very sad. I can see a comment from Fred Bonkongo. Fred Bonkongo says that, Ken, wake up. Class 6 kids in China and the rest of the world are learning coding and AI tools like ChatGPT. Wewe unasema our kids are learning motor skills. Allah. Anyway, I can also see that I say that once visited. Please note, visited Seattle, or I don't know what he wants to say, Seattle. Wale Kipto niliona huko. What? And then I can see Dan James is in the house. Thank you very much, guys, for watching us live. We really do appreciate you. Minor.
The situation in my village is not very different from Ketet's. There is a friend of mine, he calls himself the Duke of Koromatangi. And for the whole of the last, I think, 5 or 4 years, his dream has been to travel beyond our borders, which is a very valid dream. He tells me that all he wants in life is to get a white girlfriend. And to do that, he must leave the country. So the situation is not any different in my country, in my village, sorry. And look, what the future looks like, I don't think anything is going to change because the problems we have in Kenya do not seem like they're being alleviated or they're being solved. So in future, I believe we'll see even more people trying to leave our country, and all you can do is just try to inform them that if all of us were to stay, we'd build a greater future than if all of us were to leave the country. But I believe the four of us are staying, and four is might be a small number, but it's enough for a start. Yeah.
Hey, not the four of us. Kipto is going like wildfire. That one, let nobody lie to you. The minute he gets a chance, he's gone.
Washira, I am not going anywhere. I am here to stay.
Aya, ile siku you'll make a phone call when you are leaving. You tell us, kujeni munipeleke airport. We'll come and serve you
In fact,
letters.
in fact,
To you.
Washira, in fact, I should be named the Duke of Munyakawanja. I heard there is a Duke in Collins Place. Alisema sijui anaitwa Duke of. So I am the Duke of
Let me tell you.
Munyakawanja. Here to stay.
And we are going to bring the Duke of Koromatangi here. He's a very interesting fellow. His name is Fidel, all the way from Kakamega. So, atakuja siku moja, you see him, and what Collins is saying is true. And he's actually, yes, he's watching live. So, Fidel says, Collins utafanya ni rombo, sio white, Konga anataka Latino baby. Anyway, so that is the Duke of Koromatangi himself, and we appreciate the Duke for being here. I know we are wrapping it up. We are wrapping it up. Minor.
Yeah. And as we wrap up, I think I'll just remind you guys one more time that we do more than just being a YouTube channel. We also have different services that we offer. There was a video at the start. You saw some of the services we offer. We do corporate emceeing, like I said before. We do events. If you have a dinner and you'd like a corporate MC, feel free in building. Much like what we're doing in during the scavenger hunt. If you attended the scavenger hunt, I think you've gotten a glimpse of what our team building activities look like. We do teamwork training. We also do things to do with African philosophy, and there's an entire catalog of services that we do. And then we also do a leadership program, and we are also venturing into personal development. And for that, we had a questionnaire that is in the video description. Take a few minutes of your time and fill in the questionnaire because we are trying to tailor make our services in such a way that they suit your every need. Apart from that, it has been a very fruitful discussion and a nice discussion with you guys. And it's always good to sit in an African panel talking about issues affecting us as Africans. Like Jeff said, good morning, good evening, good night, depending on when and where you're watching us from. It has been nice having you guys with us, and we thank you for sparing your time to come and share in our thoughts and in our wisdom. And we hope that next week will also see you again. Aware Easter is coming. Have a happy Easter. Till we meet again on Wednesday. Yeah, that's all from my end.
Yeah, I can see Dan Jinju saying that please check out No Violet, Bulawayos. We need new names. That's Dan Jinju. Yeah, as mine has mentioned, we have a survey up. It's across our social media platforms. It is there on the live description right now, comment section. And we're also going to put it in the description of this video for those who will watch later. And it is also on our website. So once you go to www.oshiraspeaks.com, you will be able to see somewhere, take the survey, fill out the survey, something of that sort, and you can be able to help us have this information that will enable us to design the development program really well. With that, I would like to wish everybody. I've had there's an Easter weekend coming. Sasa, our friends from the Muslim society will have invited you, but you will still be in the Ramadan period. So it is not siku penda kwetu. I think you will have to wait for some time. But we are still waiting for the Eid sort of invitation. No worry. So and then I'd like to wish you a very, very good. It's going to be a long weekend. Enjoy your time, and just make sure each topic that we are sharing, you have a conversation with your friends. Tell them, about this conversation that we have, so that we can be able to conscientize Africa. My name is Mutadhi Washira Wanyaga, Mojiro wa Balia Karigithe, Iside Girana Cia Mubi Muburi. Thayo, thayo, thayo.